The donut box. The donut box. What's up, guys? My name is Joe, and welcome to another episode of the Donut Box, where we unbox stories and talk about things we usually don't talk about. For today, we are going to tap into our red flags. And no, not relationship red flags, our personal red flags. I actually put up this question box on Instagram and I asked you guys what your personal red flags were, and we got a lot of answers, so thank you guys so much for sending those in. And I wanted to talk about it today because one of the biggest parts of self-improvement is self-awareness, self-assessment, getting to know yourself better. And even I hate admitting that I have faults. I mean, I feel like I'm a perfect individual. Charot. So, this is a great conversation to have. Let's talk about it. Let's unbox this story. Our unboxer today is a doctor, a podcaster from the Walwal Sesh podcast, and host of G Talks on CNN. She is also a mental health advocate, making her perfect for our topic today. So everybody, let's welcome Doc Gia Sison. Hi po!
Hello, Joe, and hello to everyone who's listening. Long time no see. I have met Joe online, and I'm super happy to be here. I'm Doc Gia Sison. I'm also a breast cancer survivor. I'm on my 10th year. So I hope to fight more. So yeah, that's it. I'm a mental health advocate and a practicing doctor as well. So thank you for the kind introduction, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited because I loved our conversation before on your podcast. It's really fun and all of those things. I wanted to ask you to start off, what made you go from doctor into podcasting and hosting? What was that transition?
I don't know what happened to my life, but I kind of manifested that na before.
Okay.
Basta all I know is that when I was undergoing chemotherapy 10 years ago, that was when I started to realize the importance of talking about feelings. So that kind of started my mental health advocacy, which kind of quote unquote required me to really be vocal. As is naman I am naman more online, etc. And then opportunities just open, which I enjoy doing naman. And then up until now, I'm really thankful for everything, for opportunities to be able to talk about mental health, to be able to talk about how to make society better, etc. So yeah, basically ganon siya, Jo.
Yeah, that's a really powerful story because I have a lot of cancer in my family. Like, my mom passed away from breast cancer. My sister has lymphoma now, so I really understand like that stress on your mental health, with those like situations overall. What are some of the things that helped you in your mental health going through all of that in your life?
Talking to people really
Okay.
helped me a lot. It's really more of I realize na I can't keep pala my feelings to myself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a list that I keep to myself. Siyempre, parang if you share it to others naman, baka too much info.
Yeah.
But I learned that talking to others doesn't make me any less of a person. It doesn't even show that I'm weak.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when we talk about how we feel, especially on how we conquer them, it helps.
Yeah.
Me, what helped my healing was I read patient stories on how they survive cancer, or not even cancer, or how they survive days,
Life. Yeah.
life in general.
Mm-hmm.
So there is power, so much power in narratives and what we say to other people,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you go online.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really powerful that it's okay to just have feelings in general, right? Because we're always pushing them down, especially as Filipinos. It's always like push it down, like things like
Yeah,
that.
wag ka umiyak kasi
Mm-hmm.
bawal. So it's parang like that. Parang if you are an advocate of especially mental health, diba? So you walk the talk. So it's a different dimension of advocating it actively. Then mas powerful yun.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel pressure, like, because you're vocal about being a mental health advocate? Do you feel pressure of being mentally healthy
Oh,
as well? Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it came to a point that I talk about getting over or moving forward, but in real life, I'm struggling.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens naman eh.
Mm-hmm.
So if and when that happens, I shut up online and I just process it by myself because wala, I mean, not naman everyone should know what I'm undergoing. So yeah, it's a struggle. If and when I reach that point, I back off and then try to ask myself again, who am I? What are my values? Um, I think that's very important, especially when nowadays parang we're dictated by how what society is expected of us. So it's a different parang ball game if you back out, back down, and ask yourself, who am I ba talaga amidst everything?
Oh, that's a really powerful question right now. Who am I?
Yeah,
Because
who am I?
the
So what does value? So
what is
we
my
always go
name?
back
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because I think a lot of us are so pressured, especially social media. You're pressured to have a message, you're pressured to stick to it, you're pressured to be on your game all the time. But like you said, no, you have to know who you are. And that brings us into our topic today of self awareness, like the importance of self awareness and being able to work through your own personal red flags. For you, what does self awareness mean?
It's knowing who you are and what you value. And for me, that's something that is evolving. It, like today, I may feel this way, but tomorrow it's gonna be different. But values kasi is something that you anchor yourself on. Eh. So example, you value you value integrity, you value compassion. So that's something that you anchor on to be able to find yourself every day. That's at least how I deal with it. And it's a process. It can change. It may not be pretty all the time because when you say self-awareness, parang it's such a beautiful term na, okay,
Yeah.
I already know my purpose, but it's not, di ba?
Mhm.
So self-awareness is more of like you keep questioning naman na because that's how you grow. Where am I going? By doing this, what do I want to achieve? What does the world need? It's like I'm a believer of the ikigai kasi. So it's like a compass on balancing what what you need for yourself and what the world needs. So
Yeah, I really love what you said of anchoring yourself through your values,
yeah,
because it's very normal to change in terms of life, right? That's something we're all afraid of course, but that's one of the biggest things that we know is they're gonna stay change,
yes,
and
yeah,
we're always so afraid of that. But like what you said, if you anchor yourself to your values, change doesn't have to be that hard when you at least at your core know what you want, or at least where you want to go, most
that's true.
importantly. Yeah, so that brings us to our main topic today, which is our personal red flags.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're talking about self awareness, and a big key to this is knowing what you have to work on yourself, right?
Yeah.
So we asked for some answers on what everybody's personal red flags are. What do you want to work on yourself, and then let's just talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready? Let's go. So our first one here is bum, ba-da-dum. I'm so intense with work to the point of breaking. Ooh.
Oh my God. Yun talaga. Oh my
Same.
God.
Yeah. Mhm.
We can all relate, but my main message is you weren't born to work. You were born to live a life. Work is just a part of your life. Don't eat it. Don't allow it to eat you up. But I was like that 10 years ago. Actually, siguro may time sa life ko that, of course, we need to work for a living. But when you kind of make it the center of your life, that you forget yourself, you forget about how you take care of yourself and what you need, that's a red flag.
Yes. Yeah.
Diba? Kasi,
Mhm.
ano yun eh, parang sometimes you get lost in the process of you keep finding your purpose at work, but it's not there. So,
Mhm.
I think That's a very valid concern, but I hope you realize that work isn't your life.
Mhm. It should help you build that life, diba? But it shouldn't be the only thing that your focus is on. And I think a lot of us tend to hold on to work as kind of our one identity and also to a distraction. Like especially if there's so many things going on in your mind and your head that you don't want to deal with, you just go straight to work. You focus on work because that's what's important. And then after that, you're kind of like, what was I supposed to do? Like, what was I
Yeah,
supposed to do with my life?
yeah.
Yeah. What did you do specifically to help you get to that point of breaking out of the cycle of just focusing on work?
It's realizing, like you na mismo.
Mhm.
You tell yourself or you say to yourself that I have to set my own boundaries already. Like, okay, I work for 8 hours. I will allot 4 hours for my family, something like that. Parang you
Mhm.
set your own standards,
Like a
but don't,
structure. Mhm.
yeah, we all have structure, chaotic structure, but it's still structure.
Mhm.
But just allot time for yourself, and that's not a weakness, because many times people feel that when you're resting, parang hindi ka productive.
Yes.
In fact, that's the opposite
Mhm.
dapat, di ba? You're
Yeah.
resting para you can
Be more
perform.
productive. Mhm.
Yes. And of course, you have to take care of yourself too kasi parang you'll get sick if you keep on working. So something like that. So setting boundaries is very important.
Yeah, that's the most important thing is to, of course, also focus on your self care, right? Because we're so pressured to keep going, hustle culture, all of those things. And I know that stress has a bigger impact on your health, but right, like so from a doctor's perspective, why should we not be stressed?
Because you know what, stress can be a trigger for many, many, many bad
Mhm.
things in our body, etc. It triggers a lot. However, naman, meron naman good type of stress, especially when you're happy doing it. But still, we have to remember that we're not machines. If you turn off our machines, that in itself, parang, oh nga no, parang, ino-off natin yung light,
Nag-overheat sila eh, diba? Yeah. Mhm.
take care of them, we turn them off. Pero yung selves natin, we don't. It doesn't make sense. Our phones, di ba, naglo-low bat siya. And we look for chargers. But why can't we do that to ourselves? If we're low bat na, what can we do to recharge ourselves? So I think there's a lot to dissect whenever we talk about, di ba, I'm dependent sa power bank. It's something that you don't, basta yung mga ganyan. So it's really important to take care of your health. No, take it from me because I kind of lost it 10 years ago. And that's my biggest regret, Joe. I preach to my patients, oh, you do that, you do self breast exam, make sure you rest. But I wasn't practicing it myself. And then cancer hit me. And that was a huge, parang, bush. Parang, oh nga, no? So, but hopefully, okay na ako sa life. And
Mhm. And the thing about other specific illnesses like cancer, you can do everything in your power to prevent it, but it will still come. Like it will still happen, which again puts us back into that perspective of what if something happens in your life, something major that puts you out, is the only thing you would be have like in your life just work. Diba? So we also have to put that parang wait, what do we want to have memories of? What do we want to have in our life? It as much as possible. It can't just be work. Diba?
exactly, exactly. And I think the pandemic has taught us a lot about valuing what we need to value talaga, the real core of building memories, making sure everyone is fine. It was a huge lesson on health, which I hope we all learn from.
Yes. All versions of health for sure. Okay, let's go to our next one. Ooh, okay. Mabilis ako makontento, especially sa mga life goals. Ooh, would you think this is a red flag? Mabilis makontento.
I guess everyone naman is different.
Mhm.
So, kung ang feeling niya is, pag may okay na siya, then that's fine. Kasi basta whatever floats your boat,
Yeah.
I think yun yung importante. Yeah, I think yun lang. Kasi I really value how swerte niya,
Mhm.
sana all.
Yeah, because there's way too many people who are not content enough, and then you're
Yes,
in the cycle of constantly trying to be better, be better, be better. Then you forget all of the things that you've already done and you've already succeeded on.
that's a gift.
Hmm.
So whoever you are, keep on doing that. Kasi, having an attitude of gratitude is also a very helpful mindset whenever you feel so down.
Ooh, attitude of gratitude.
Yeah,
I like that.
although this is not toxic positivity, toxic positivity is different. It's really more of reminding yourself of what you have at the present. You're working on something, that's fine. You're stressing on something. You want to achieve something, it's causing you discontentment. But whenever you reach that point, you always have to remind yourself na, wait, I have this for now, and that's fine as long as I'm working towards my goals. So something like that. So I learned that the hard way, and we all are. But the important part there is we're trying.
Yes, and I think there's also an important line between, parang knowing what you want and not having to compare it to what other people have. Because I think that's the big struggle. Is like, oh, I did this, but it's not like how she did it or how they did it, so I have to do more. And yeah, so it becomes this pressure. And the biggest thing I think we have to do with that na makontento sa life as a red flag would be more of if you don't push yourself to grow. Like that's where it would be a red flag. But I feel like if you are happy where you're at, then that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
People struggle with that happiness, right? So if we find it, keep it.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to our next one. I get too involved in other people's problems that I ignore mine.
yun tayo.
That hit.
That's true. It's the culture of constantly wanting to help.
Mhm.
May ganun kasi tayong culture na if I don't help, parang I'm useless.
Yeah.
But here's the catch. Yun nga, kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, I hope you don't lose yourself in the process of finding yourself or finding you. Yes, you can be of support to a friend, but not naman to the point na you forget about yourself. Because the whole point of mental health care is for the other one to be self-dependent. We don't want others to be dependent on, alam mo yun, parang they still have to stay themselves. So, and you can't control everyone. The problem with that kasi is you wanna involve yourself to some many problems, pero talaga bang kailangan yun? Di ba we have a saying nga, you have to choose your battles. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng war, mapapagod ka, di ba?
Yeah, you'll empty your your battery
Your battery,
yourself. Mm-hmm.
malolobat ka dyan. So, not all battles in life are also worth it. So, you have to ask yourself, will this battle change the way I am? Parang ganon. Because sometimes it's useless eh. Sometimes it's just I don't know, but for me, choose lang. Choose whatever battles you face.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to ask yourself, no, if you're putting yourself in other people's problems, are you doing that just to keep yourself from facing your own problems? Diba? Is it just a distraction? Are you actually dealing with your own struggles? And also putting into perspective as well as, if it's time for you to have problems, do you have the energy to take that in? Will you have the community to take that in as well with you? Right? That's important. Or how would you, let's say, put that boundary of me helping others, but also knowing when I am tired, when I'm done? Or how do you choose your battles, basically?
Siguro, that's where self-reflection comes in. We have to reach that point in our lives when we spend quiet time or we kind of step back and see how our pattern in life goes. So, example, you have a pattern, like I have a pattern of falling into or getting my emotions too involved with something I have no control of. Example, other people's behavior. I have no control of that. So if you find yourself in a pattern similar to that and it's not helping you, get that pattern off and ask yourself how you can change it. Because I know it's difficult to change mindsets. So start from you na lang. So personally, before kasi parang I wanted to be involved in everything. Napagod na ako. Napagod na ako sa kaka-try. And that was a telling sign for me to stop. Stop and then just let go. It might not be for you or it's not even a problem for others. Why should it be a problem to you pa? Parang ganun, parang nakaka-toxic siya. So you will learn by taking a step back and try to check on take note of situations where you had to struggle and then get the lessons out.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like a self-review, like a little bit of an assessment every after a situation.
Yes.
Yeah, how did I do?
Yes, exactly, Joe. How did I do?
May pa-survey na. Yeah, may survey tayo.
How did I feel? So how did this person make me feel? Kung toxic, iwasan mo as much as possible. Kasi you know what? Life is so short kasi to involve yourself with too much drama, which I believe, sometimes you can get yourself into those situations. And just save yourself from it and just live your life.
And like what you mentioned, you have to have gone through some things as well for you to be able to know that about yourself, diba? No, there's no pressure naman to be perfect now, to figure it all out now. If you feel like you're still involving yourself in other situations, just assess how that helps you after. Right? It doesn't have to be right now, let go. It can be, okay, now I know next time if I'm in this situation, I know when to let go at least.
Exactly. So don't just wherever you are, just stay there. We're not, me and Joe, we're not pressuring you to change that.
Let go.
So stay there and ask yourself how it's making you feel. So yan, change na yan.
Mm-hmm. If it doesn't feel good, that's when you let go. Okay, let's go to our next one. I don't know how to ask for help because I always feel like I'll be asking for too much of their time. Oh, so there's the opposite naman of, on the other side, we help others too much or we can't help ourselves. Do you struggle with that as well?
Sometimes I do, but it actually, again, it came to a point where it's like parang you're already drowning and that you have to ask for help. And it's really not a sign of weakness. And it actually helps you more. It gives you another perspective. It becomes a burden if you depend on another person. But I think asking for help in itself there's nothing wrong with it. And don't deal with it alone because you can learn from others. So I think we have to start from that learning our mindset that we can actually get a whole new perspective if we only talk to others.
Like if I had to pick a red flag, that's one of my red flags as well. Or it's like I am so afraid of asking people for help that I will literally just do everything on my own until I'm crashing and like burnt out and stressed. And then I'll be like, wait, can you help me? Diba? Parang it's regret after that sucks the most when you're like, it was too late to have done anything for that. Diba? I think this especially for health problems as well, because I think a lot of people push aside their health so much until it's the last possible minute. And that's just where we really have to remember na parang you have to try to reach out when you can before it's too late because we don't want to live with that regret.
That's true.
Like, if it's okay to ask, now, when you were going through breast cancer, how was your support system and how did that feel for you to have to, reach out to people and tell them, oh, I have breast cancer? And like, how was that situation for you?
It was very difficult because coming from a person who is independent, but at I think the whole cancer, um, my whole breast cancer journey taught me to be humble enough to ask people on how getting help. I had a strong support system, fortunately, because of my family and communities of breast cancer survivors, because I got learnings from them. So it's like something like, example, wrapping my bandana, something even to that extent, and how to cope on bad days, how to cope with loneliness. So it's really more of a life changing, literally, and but more of it was a very liberating experience because I learned how to share. And that was a major learning that I carried through up until now. So if I need help now, wala na ako sa point na wag na, it's nakakahiya. No, if you really need help, then just reach out. It's okay to tell my friend or my husband or even my daughters, even if they're younger, of course younger than me. Like they're 19, like my eldest is turning 20. I asked
Mhm.
them what I should do, and they have a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
Like, mommy, if I were you, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. O ano, parang, that's
Yeah.
the beauty of parang
Collaboration. Yeah.
collaboration.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like parang parents learn from children. It's a different story na now, especially during lockdowns. And may mga racing thoughts ako. I'm an overthinker kasi, Joel. So whenever I feel that way, I talk to my youngest naman kasi she's not the overthinker. And she tells me things na parang, alam mo yung parang nakipag-usap ka sa guru.
Yeah.
"Mommy, this is how we do it." So ganyan. Okay, so so that's it. It's really more of when you learn how to open up to others, it will open a whole lot of doors for you na mga aha moments na it will help you, especially as an individual where every day is a day where you can actually grow.
Yeah, and I think a big part of asking for help, or at least a way we can lessen that feeling of being a burden in our minds, is we can think of it as also helping that other person see a different perspective as well, right? That's why I love, like, when I talk to my clients about the relationship with food and their body, it's not always just me like giving these insights. I've always learned so much from them as well, so that always puts me in the perspective of, hey, I just want to open up a conversation. It doesn't even have to be I'm asking for help. Let's just open up a conversation. Let's see what we find out, and then maybe from there you can have an idea of what to do after, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Take it to another level.
Yeah. And just to add as well, if you are afraid to ask for help, it's also important to ask yourself who you are asking. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's them.
True.
Oh, okay, this one's another one. I'm a very negative person and I don't know how to change.
Well, realizing that is already
A
half the
big thing. Mm-hmm.
yeah, big thing na yun eh. Kasi you realize that, wait lang, parang I'm getting too cynical already about the world, which I don't blame you ha. Kasi with what's happening around us,
It's hard.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
parang it's difficult to be optimistic. But realizing that too much negativity is bad for you, stay with that thought and then ask yourself another question. Where are you comfortable at? I mean, probably pick a happy thought, one happy thought lang,
Mm-hmm.
and then magnify that. Kasi very
Mm-hmm.
negative na siya eh. So think of one incident or situation in your life where naging happy ka, and then build on that.
Take that energy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take that energy with you, and then start to every day bring it back. Kasi it's habit eh. It's a habit. You won't change overnight. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Yeah. Mhm.
It's a process. And when you say process, you will fail, you will go back, but the important thing there is you realize it and then again you get up.
Mhm.
So for the one who wrote that perspective, it's never too late. And take that first baby step.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note that a lot of your negative thoughts are coming from something as well. Diba? So like where is it coming from? Maybe there's an experience you had that made you think this way all the time. And I'll just relate this to, for example, body image, right? Like a lot of us have very negative thoughts about our body. And then if we ask ourselves, where does this come from? It can come from either childhood, palagi kang kinukomentan ng katawan, so you carry that talaga, or also everything you see on the media is always telling you that something's wrong with your body. So you also have to find that root and then see how you can set your boundaries from on those things, because that would also be a big factor. Your environment, such a big factor to your negative thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. Kasi kaya I never forgot about, like, family reunion stresses me. Kasi always comment about, tumaba ka, o kaya, ano nangyari. Diba parang it's judgmental. I also don't blame. So you have to be careful also with how you say things. Kasi parang, it would be a better world if you just open up conversations that, build people and not make them feel bad about themselves.
True. I think the biggest thing is that we tend to magnify even our own negativity to other people, diba? And we just pass that. We're just passing it on, pretty much, diba? So that's also things to look into. I have this client who told me that the reason why she wanted to work on her relationship with herself is because whenever she talks negatively to her body, her kid hears it. And she's realizing na parang if her child grows up thinking negatively to her body, about her body, a big factor of that would be because that's what she saw with her mom. Diba? So that's also what we look into, like how are the negative things you're saying to yourself also affecting the negativity around you and carrying that to your space.
Yes, that's true. I agree.
Let's take a look at our next one. Donut break! Some quick glazed questions to get to know our guest better. Doc, are you ready?
Ready, Joe.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about yourself and why?
Oh my God. The way I am in terms of speaking my thoughts, speaking my mind.
Ooh, okay. What is your coping mechanism?
Netflix. Am I allowed to say that?
Sponsor, gonna do that. What is your hidden talent, if any?
Oh, dancing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Let's dance.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. What was your dream job as a child?
Doctor. Yeah, doctor.
Oh, okay. So that was really like, you just went for it talaga. Our most important question of the day. What is your favorite donut flavor?
Chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, straight answer. Chocolate donut. Never fails to make me happy. Oh, and I have a hidden dream. Becoming a DJ.
Oh. I think we can make that happen.
Your podcast is the first one to know my other dream.
Okay, DJ Doc is coming to you. This is our first track. Wiki, wiki. I get too defensive when asked about myself, and I tend to have to justify everything. Ooh, justifying everything. Yeah, I think that's a big one.
I have a tendency to do that. But, please remember that it's different naman if you're accountable. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
You're accountable to your actions. But justifying yourself all the time to others, for me, that's a big red flag and a big no-no because you are you. Diba? That's where individuality happens. Well, this may be something that we can debate on. Don't allow people to change you. Pero may mga aspects din naman kasi that we have to change. That's
depends on the change.
Depends on the change. But don't make your life dependent on other people's opinion. To the point that you're doing things that make you unhappy. Yun, that's my take on that. And again, strangers, wala yan. Some people will just pull you down. But stick to people who support you.
Yeah, and I think a big part of this justification is because, for example, in terms of when you're self-care, diba, a lot of people will either gain weight or lose weight for different reasons in their life, and it's because we always want to give somebody an answer, diba? Parang, oh, I gained weight because of this, and you don't have to justify those things. No, it's just life. It just happens, right? It doesn't have to be a reason for all of these things. Sometimes it just happens and that's okay. And you can just let it be something that has happened in your life rather than something that you carry with you the whole time. Na parang, ito kasi, ganun, ganon. And then sometimes all of these justifications also become a victim mindset in yourself. Na parang, I am all of these things are happening to me. That's why I'm in this position. That's why I have to justify it. And then it becomes a whole other red flag as well. Oh, okay, I like this one because I can relate to this one. Okay. I refuse to start if I think I cannot get it perfect the first try.
Oh, okay. Well, no one's perfect to begin with.
No, I don't believe that. No, no, no. Yeah.
Perfect, eh? No, but no one's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Before you reach your goal, you're gonna fail several times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it has no black book. Sana we have a black book of success, but none. Eh. It's really the experience of living that life that's gonna teach you a lot. So it's never perfect. In fact, the greatest lessons you will learn when you fail. I'm not saying that you have to fail, but I'm just trying to get to a point that ganun ang life, it's not a straight road. So you just have to, there are detours. You don't know where to go, left or right. But the important part there is you're constantly moving. So no matter how slow it is, it's 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 the whole concept of moving and trying. Yun eh. We lose touch of that in between kasi. That's why we say na, I'm never gonna make it, ganyan, ganyan. It's the process of your goal and your mindset. So the in-betweens is very important.
I like that you mentioned it, keep going, keep flowing. I think that's a big thing we tend to do is we tend to stop. And the thing about that is the world does not stop. Like the world it just keeps going and going. And so when you want to do something, you don't have to do it all out, right? Of course, we're afraid of not getting it perfect. Like me, I'm a very, very big type A perfectionist. But what I like to do is just like start with a very, very small thing about it. Right? Just a very small thing, something you know you can't get wrong.
Yes. Yeah. That's a new that's a nice approach. So parang yeah, one thing lang and then do it.
Yeah, the smallest thing to help you get there. And that's also where what I like to work on with like setting goals. Because you have this tendency to set the biggest, most it's okay to have big goals, but it's also important to be realistic. This is the most important thing. You be realistic with yourself. Because I have a lot of clients who will tell me, okay, I want to be able to work out every day 7 times a week, 1 hour a day, ganon. And then you look at your schedule. Is it even possible? Is it feasible? Or are you just setting yourself up to feel worse about yourself because you can't do it? So what if the smallest thing I can do is 5 minutes twice a week? That's it. That's good.
Diba? And that's progress, diba, Joe? But you have to set realistic goals. So yeah. See, I'm learning from you eh.
Yes, because I'm glad I have some input. It's like because I'm learning from you so much. So we're getting there. Yeah. And also just one thing as well with like perfectionist, and this is the phrase that I hate the most. Of course, like you said a while ago, we're bound to fail. I hate that so much because
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Some aspects,
yeah. No, I don't hate it in like that way. I hate it more of a like, no, I don't want to fail. Like it's more of a no, it has to not happen, of course, because we hate failure, right? But unfortunately, it is inevitable, and one of the things that unfortunately have to go through is the learning process as well.
Yeah.
That's the hardest, suckiest part, but it has to happen.
It happens.
Yeah. And like, I wish there were other ways, but sometimes that's how it is.
Sana hindi, but like, you know what, when I first took the board exams, we have a certifying body before we become doctors. I failed the first time. And that wasn't part of the goal. That was my first huge failure. Syempre mga exams sa med school. But the month I took the board September, and then the next take would be February. And that time, there's a stigma pa that when you take it on a February, you failed. the September boards. Before, hindi pa naman masyadong uso yung stigma na term. So, I told myself when I saw the list I wasn't there, sabi ko, syempre I broke glass,
Mhm.
basta I broke down,
Literally broke glass?
I
Like
literally broke glass. Hindi
through
alam mo
plates,
yung
ganon? Oh,
and then everyone, like, we had a sleepover and we were five. I was the only one who didn't pass. So can you imagine? Parang,
Ooh, yeah.
shit,
That's like a lot of pressure talaga.
but sabi ko, I have to take the February because if I don't, mawawala hindi August pala, February, mawawala yung drive ko. And that won't stop me from being a doctor. So yun, that's the story of my life. So after taking it to February, I passed. But that was my first realization na, o nga no, bakit ganun? The more you want something, the more siyang ilalayo sa'yo. So I stopped asking that and just lived through the moments when I would just try and try and try. Then, yun, I passed.
Were you scared the second time?
Yeah, I was scared. I got stuck pa sa elevator. Sabi ko, shit.
Oh no.
Yeah, 12:30 stuck in the elevator. Pero sabi ko, talagang parang hindi naman yata for me ang medicine.
Like
But
it felt like
anyway,
science.
yeah. So, but when I passed, so, yun, okay na pala.
That's a really good like perspective also na parang, you know, when you fail something, it doesn't always mean that that's it, right? People,
Yes.
life gives you a second chance. It's
Yeah.
okay. I'm always afraid of that. Okay, let's go to our last red flag for the day. Everything is personal for me. Ooh.
Oh!
Hard hit.
Ang nagde-debunk eh. Ay, nako. Alam mo, na-challenge ako dito sa podcast mo, Joanne.
It's like a game show.
Because I would always say na lahat ng feelings are valid. But you know what? Okay. Don't make everything personal. Sometimes it's not you. Again, dito papasok yung concept of things you can control and things that you cannot control. So there's a fine line between the both. And we have to accept that. I speak about acceptance because that's something that sometimes we have difficulty in seeing. Like behavior of others, if they're wired that way, we can change that. No matter what we do, they'll still be them. They're happy with the way they are, and so must you. So parang ganun. And whenever something happens, ask yourself also na sometimes baka bystander ka lang. It's bound to happen. Yung mga ganun. It's meant to happen. And it's not all about you. It's just that circumstances just happen.
This is actually the red flag that I put when I ask people questions, because this is one of my major red flags. I really take everything personal. Talaga. Like, for example, my sister goes to tennis and she doesn't invite me. I'm always like, oh, she hates me. Oh, she doesn't like me anymore. She just want to hang out with me. It's all this attack on me. And that really creates a big rift between us because I have these random outbursts of like, just like not passive aggressiveness. Oh, you didn't invite me. So, so there are those situations. And one of the biggest things that you really have to dive into, and I think this is why self-awareness from the beginning of our conversation really comes in, is you have to know why you take things personally. And for me, I take things personally, especially yung mga left out type of things, because I've always felt left out since I was younger. Like, I don't know why, but it was like a really big theme in my childhood to be left out, especially in family situations. Not that they intentionally did that, but that just puts us into perspective of what other people are doing. They're not really doing it to you. Yes, number one, they have their own thoughts and beliefs and they have their own things that they're going through, but also two, they don't know what you're going through. They don't know what's going to affect you. And when you start to take that personally, it's important to like ask yourself, why do I make such a big deal out of this? Why is it a big deal to me and not to anybody else? Because that's when you're really going to figure out like so many things of your own stressors talaga.
Oh. Ayan, napapaisip na tuloy ako.
I
Ayun na
wanted
masyadong malaking triggered.
I wanted to ask you because you mentioned what to control versus what you can't control. How do you define for yourself na parang, okay, this one I can control, this I can't? What are your parang, how do you assess that?
Well, yes, kasi number one, whenever I give talks, that's always something that I bring up.
Okay.
So, example, culture, you can't change it. So, parang you have to.
We're trying. We're
We're
trying.
trying. We're trying. But it comes to a point na sasabihin mo na, okay, I tried my best. I will just park it and then focus on myself. Something like that. Behavior is something. Society, siguro, it can change. Depende na lang. But you define kasi your boundaries again. Much of our red flags are really about realizing where we should set boundaries. Like who do we say yes to? Who do we say no to? And it's okay to say no, ha? And actually, that's the start of getting over your red flags. Realizing your red flags is already a huge step towards overcoming them. And then the other part of the spectrum would be acting on change. So, yun, ganun siya, parang, and it's not, it's not as if it's balanced agad. Yung parang, it's not tipong, ito hindi ko na mababago, ito mababago ko. It's not. It's more of parang you have to make it timpla according to, how you see things. How I do it, every day I do that. Like, number one, bad tip na bad tip ako sa traffic, but can I control it? I can't kasi unless I own the cars. Pero parang,
Everybody move.
Labas. Siguro ganyan, parang, kasi stress on it eh. Pero, sa sobrang stress ko, it's affecting the way I function. So, I remind myself, is this something I can control? If it's not, park it. And then I just focus my mind into what am I going to talk about when I get to work? How is my patient? Something like that. Parang ganon. I approach it that way. I iba-iba naman kasi tayo on how we approach things. But maybe by this convo that we have, I hope people, can get enlightenment.
Yes. And also a big part of like what you can control and what you can't control also I think comes down to how much time can you give it. Right? Parang if you can give your whole life to it, then okay, maybe it's something you can control. But if you feel like you putting all of your energy and that won't change a thing, then that will really put you into that, no, but this is not something I can control, at least with a given time frame. Right? Yeah. Yay. Okay. Thank you so much, Doc, for all of your insights. I'm ready to work on my red flags. Let's go self-assessment. To end our conversation, what is something that you want to talk about that we usually don't talk about?
Mental health. I think are difficulties. It's time that we talk about it, speak up. Gone are the days that we realize that mental health is one aspect in our lives. I mean, it's about time that we start to normalize conversations about how we feel. And that's fine. It starts there. It's okay to be vulnerable. And I think one thing that we have to talk about is our vulnerabilities. Because with that, we hope to, empathize with others that feel alone and isolated.
In short, we are all struggling together, so let's talk about it. Yeah. Yay, thank you so much, Doc, for this conversation. Where can everybody find you if they want to learn more about you and your advocacies?
I have my Instagram and my Twitter handles at Gia Season and my Facebook page, Dr. Gia Season. So I hope to connect with you. And Joe, thanks so much for guesting me on your podcast. I appreciate it. And thank you to all our listeners. Joe, good luck, and I wish you well.
Thank you for the message. Thank you, Paul. And that is the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, recording it, having this conversation with Doc Gia. There were so many tidbits of information, a lot of things that I learned and just kind of woed about to myself. Because when it comes to self-improvement, to having the best version of yourself, you gotta admit your faults, which sucks, but it happens. So I hope this episode was helpful for you on your journey as well. If you like this episode, then don't forget to follow the Donut Box here and also on Instagram at the Donut Box Pod, so you can also send in your answers for the next episodes. You can also follow me at It's Joe Sebastian on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, or at healwithjoe.rnd on Instagram for more nutrition things. The Donut Box is an Anima podcast, so if you want to know more about the latest pods, don't forget to follow them as well. Thank you again for listening to this episode, and don't forget to celebrate your body today. Bye!